Hey, AltCoin Buzz Army. This is Adam with AltCoin Buzz, and today we're going to be talking about Neblio. This is brought to you by popular demand. I made the Neo versus WAN video, which everyone seemed to like and comment on, and I always appreciate the feedback. I like thinking things in the battle sense. I'm just a competitor. I'm a sports guy too. But when I pit things against each other, it helps me understand them on a deeper level. We are not doing that today. We're just going to dive all in with Neblio, and everyone started requesting that. That was the most popular requested one in my previous video, so I'm going to roll with that. Just as an FYI, Jeff did review this back in December, so this is the second review for this on this channel. Going over some highlights. Back then, this was on December 4th when this was posted. Neblio back then was $3.56. Market cap was 44 million, so pretty low. This was all still relatively new. Some of the issues that Jeff had then was, A, it wasn't on a major exchange, and they had a small team, which isn't necessarily a red flag, but at the time he reviewed this, there's only 4 people on the team. So, you always beg the question of, when you compare it to bigger ones like EOS and Neo and some of the potential competitors here, it was relatively small, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but always, something to keep an eye out for. Jumping to today, Neblio right now is $10.92. Market cap's 142 million. And if we go back here and kind of review what's happened since then, so they did have a nice spike in January, like the rest of the crypto world. Broke $60 and hit $769 million market cap. So it had some success, and it did get added to Binance, which is also probably a huge factor. So I'm not sure exactly what date it got added to Binance. I assume it was around then, given the spike, plus everything was spiking then, because look at that. That is just a huge, massive spike in, a week's time or so, a few days' time. And you can see most all the trading volumes on Binance even to today. This is, emphasize, this is not professional financial advice. I'm not even usually the financial guy. I just figured it would be good to go over the numbers. It's cool seeing a previous review and seeing it now, so I just wanted you to kind of see the difference there. Their total supply is 13 million, 13.7, which is significantly low. That is lower than Bitcoin. I'm not saying this is going to get as successful or as popular or used as Bitcoin, but as far as like investment goes, with $142 million market cap and that low supply, there's potential. But let's learn about it first, and you can kind of decide for yourself. So team-wise, like I said, they had 4 back in December. They have added 1 more developer. I believe Samir is the new developer. And so their team is still relatively small, but which does beg the question of how much they can handle with a small team, right? So not to potentially be a red flag, but overall, they're all kicking butt. And that's what the take home is, right? It is about quality over quantity. We have seen cryptocurrency teams that are much, much bigger that are doing a lot less. So, but just wanted to point that fun fact out. So what is Neblio? All right, the origin and the vision, right? Their ICO began back in August of last year. I think it only lasted a couple weeks before it was closed. They made the money they needed to, I assume. And they're also an independent blockchain. So much like WAN and Neo and Ethereum, they're not dependent on anybody else. They do their own thing. But they are also very specific. They are built from the start for enterprise distributed application development. So if you watch my Neo versus WAN, right, that a lot of these can seem like competitors, but if you look at their vision and what their focus is, they may not be. So going back to that review, so over here on the left is Neo, on the right is WAN. WAN is extremely focused on finance, and they want to have cross-chain. They are private, and they just want to rebuild the entire financial structure on their blockchain. Neo is just, they want an open network, and they want everyone, and they're extremely developer friendly. They want everyone to come in and develop whatever app they want. They want all the creativity. So they're kind of more of the creative blockchain. Whereas if you come back over here for Neblio, they are enterprise focused. They're business focused, and they built that from the get-go. So these 3 can be seen almost as competitors, but they have their niche. So they can coexist, in my opinion, and they know what they want. Each of these cryptos know what they want. They're not just your run-of-the-mill, oh, we have a blockchain, we do the exact same thing as everybody else, and they're not trying to solve any problems. They are trying to solve, by they I mean Neblio. Neblio is trying to solve enterprise problems. And what are they trying to do? So they are very much development focused, and by development I mean the developers that exist in business now. So their goal is to make it really simple and really convenient for them. And they do that with this Neblio API suite. So they are also, I don't know if they're the only ones, they're the only ones I've really seen so far. They put a lot of emphasis on database developer. And if you're not familiar with database, that's okay. They have this RESTful, the RESTful APIs, the interfaces. What that is just their toolbox, right? Just think of them as the tools, and they have all the programming, not all, but they have pretty much the majority of the major ones that they're set up to support, right? And that's huge. And we talked about that with Neo too, where Neo encourages and has set up to where everyone can use their programming languages that they are already familiar with. So that is going to be a key thing in their success, is that they can go into any business and then they can have the developers start coding right away. And that's something they focus on in their white paper, is that they don't want the developers to worry about blockchain. The developers don't even need to understand blockchain to be able to use Neblio's network. That is their big focus. And I think that is huge, and be interested to see how the database focus could potentially create a lot more partnerships and bring in a lot more business. One thing I also like right here, recognizes AWS and Azure. AWS is Amazon Web Services, and this is Microsoft's cloud-based services that they offer. So both of these are cloud-based solutions. So even though when we're thinking about the blockchain and all the different cryptos, and we compare and contrast, and then we have the competitors, and we're wondering who's coming out on top, that's not even the biggest picture. The bigger picture is that blockchain is still competing with non-blockchain technology, and Neblio recognizes that, and they even go in to give some pointers on how the Neblio nodes can work alongside these cloud-based services. So they can work along Amazon Web Services. If you're not familiar with them, Amazon's been killing it with their web services, and they are saving businesses hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, and they have this awesome platform that's like pretty much all encompassing when it comes to storage. They've introduced AI and many, many more. I was actually going more for Amazon Web Services before I really took a turn into blockchain. And once I started studying more of the crypto, I was like, ooh, this is cool. So I came over here. My background's more in network engineering, if you're curious about that. I'm not a developer, more on the networking side. But it's cool. So I love that they do this. I love that they recognize this. I think that Neblio, because of these things that they put out, the programming languages, the APIs, the other services that exist outside of blockchain, and they are very forefront with that. I think that they know who they are, and I think they know what they're doing because of these things. And not saying that other ones don't, just because they don't say it in their white paper, but this gives me confidence as I'm reading it. The Neblio API suite. So right now they have their version 1, which is basically, it's almost like their tester. So they are in this moment going around testing and getting feedback. Now Neblio API version 2 is supposed to be coming out later this year, and they are going to take all their feedback that they get from the enterprise sector and start creating the specific tools and pretty much relaunch it. And they're wanting industry-wide adoption starting next year. So I'm sure they'll start launching it next year. So I'm not saying like January everyone's going to have it, but that's going to be their main focus. So Neblio's time will most likely be coming on next year when we see them like truly, truly growing, given that everything goes as they have it planned out in their roadmap. Use cases. So again, very specific: secure records management, regulatory compliance and audit trails, Internet of Things, and big data. Now this I'm actually pretty curious about as a nerd, as a techie guy, because if we think about like with Bitcoin, for example, Bitcoin got slow. Ethereum got slow, right? And Bitcoin got slow, and all they have is a ledger. It's just transactions. That's all they're keeping track of. So you're talking about big data. Now, what does that consist of, right? Because there's a huge, huge difference between a ledger full of transactions versus handling the raw files for all the Marvel movies right? I mean, talking about sand compared to the earth. It just say here, secure and store the explosion of data transactions they generate. So I don't know if they just plan to do big data transactions. And it's not like something I absolutely need to know. This is something the business would need to know. But this is curious to me because big data and blockchain technology, in my mind right now, aren't really cohesive. They're not friends. And maybe if Neblio is going to find a way for them to be friends. But be interested to see how that goes. Consensus and reward. So, you know me, if you've listened to my videos, I love the passive income and I love to be able to partake. So they are proof of stake. So hodlers can stake Nebel in their wallets to gain rewards. So if you have it, any Neblio, and if you don't have their wallet, you need to download their desktop wallet and you can keep it in there and stake it. There's no minimum requirement to stake. The more you stake, the more you earn. That's just majority of proof of stake in general. The one downside is you must keep wallets online 24/7 to maximize rewards. Not necessarily a downside. You will still get rewards if you take your wallet offline. If you have it online, sometimes you just won't maximize rewards. So if we go here, this is nebulostats.com. You can come in here and you can type in how much you have, and they'll pretty much lay out what you're going to get. And this is if you're connected 24/7. So if you're staking one, you pretty much, it looks like you're getting 10% return on it. So if you stake one, you're getting 0.1 over the course of a year. If you stake 10, you're getting a little over 1. Stake 100, getting a little over 10. Stake 1,000, well, you're probably doing just fine. So this is a cool little calculator you can come to see exactly how much you're doing. No master nodes. I don't know if they have plans to. I don't know if anything's coming out of that. I put a sad face because I like master nodes. It's not a necessity for their success by any means. It's just something I like. And you can go back and look at my master node video to kind of see the perks on those if you're not familiar with it. But master nodes is like ultimate hodling plus ultimate rewards, and you get to build things. So it's fun. So looking at their white paper, this is more of a reiteration, but they want to have their Neblio API Suite version 2 coming out in Q3. So we'll be looking for that. Q4, let's see, implementation and delivery at Neblio. This is when they're going to start implementing it and looking at the design requirements and seeing what the businesses want. And then 2019 is all geared towards industry-wide adoption. So be keeping track of that. So looking at this, all right, so what are the obstacles they're facing? Number one is that this is still in the works, right? Nothing is officially built yet. We're not even going to be looking at things that are ready for industry-wide adoption until next year. So again, this is speculation. This is theoretical. They have their ideas. They have their team and they're pushing. So not putting doubt in their ability, but if you're trying to do investment or you're interested in what they're doing, they don't have it working yet. So big emphasis on that. They do have a small team, going back to that. So only 5 people. I don't know what other type of, they could be hiring freelancers and getting more people on and doing all that jazz. So who knows exactly if this is just the core team and then they have a lot of people doing other stuff, or if they are fully capable of doing it with just the 5 and realizing what they need to. They do say that they're hiring, so they're obviously looking to expand, but we'll see. That's just something to keep in mind, that I don't know if having a 5-person team will limit their growth. And then competition. All right, so we kind of talked about this. So a couple cryptocurrency competitors, Stratus, Elastos, which I actually am not too familiar with Elastos, but these are all high performance blockchain. This is like, have a pretty solid team. So this is another example, like, these guys are twice as big as far as team wise, and have associations with Neo as well, and then Dragon Chain. So these are some of the ones that I wanted just to point out that are also very commercial business focused cryptos. So these all could be potential competitors, things we need to look out for. Again, there's a lot of business out there. There's a lot of potential for everyone to basically shine in this crypto space. I think, especially as we're going back and you're looking at these two, right, Neo and Wanchain, where they are talking about being able to have all the blockchains talk to each other. Some of these could actually work together to do different things because of what some of these cryptos are bringing to the table. So it'll be interesting to see how partnerships work, to see how joint collaborations work, and see what all goes down. But that is Neblio in a nutshell. I like Neblio. Again, we need to just see how they progress because they don't have everything laid out yet. They are a work in progress. It'd be good just to keep an eye on them. If you're invested, then make sure you're staking because you're just going to be gaining rewards for not doing anything, right? Fun part. Always love that. And always, you guys, if you like these, please hit the like button. It just gives me feedback, right? I'm not in a popularity contest. Overall, I'm a hermit, right? I'm in here recording in my house by myself, and I like it that way. But it lets me know that you like it. Comment other ones you want to see, what you think about Neblio, if there's any red flags that I have missed, or even cool news updates. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to AltCoin Buzz and hit that bell to get notifications. And I'll be talking to you soon. Thanks again. Take care.